morning. Welcome to Powerhouse Church of God in Christ, here located at 2002 Powell Avenue, Monroe, Louisiana. We're praying that the Lord's favor continue to be with you and that you are blessed in His power and in His strength. We also want to let you know that each one of you is covered by the blood of the Lord. And I also want you to know that the pastor here and First Lady are praying for each of you, praying for each of your families. We're praying that God covers you by the blood, and that if you do happen to get sick, that the Lord will see you through. And we ask that you continue to pray for each other. There's a few things I'd like to discuss with you today. First, I'd like to remind you related to the coronavirus that we should continue to follow the direction of the CDC. And if you experience some symptoms, you ought to contact your primary physician. And if you don't have a primary physician, to contact 211 for further directions and instructions. Also, it's been brought to our attention that some people have been exposed or have some of the symptoms, and then they would go to the doctor, call 211, and they would tell them that, test them, tell them they're okay, and then they would go back home and maybe experiencing those symptoms again. And we ask that if those symptoms get severe, that you do return to you, calling your primary physician or calling 211, or seek the emergency room for assistance. Also, if you've been exposed to the disease of the coronavirus, we ask that you do self-quarantine for 14 days in an effort to try to minimize passing this disease along. The second thing I'd like to discuss with you is just a few highlights from the Corona AIDS Relief Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, the one that was just passed by the Senate and the House this week, and the President signed it. Just a few highlights I'd like to remind you of. First, there will be a one-time check that will be deposited, or check that will go out to individuals. It will be for $1,200 for adults and $500 per child. That will include all Americans, whether you have income or not. The program will start fading out for individuals that makes over $75,000. Head of the household make over $112,000 and $150,000 if you're married. And it will phase out by decreasing the funds by $5 per $100 until it hits the phase-out amount. And the phase-out amount is over $99,000 per individual, $146,000 for head of the household, and $198,000 for married couples. Just a couple other things related to that act. The rules are relaxed if you are in a retirement account, like for instance maybe a 401k, and you're required to take mandatory distributions, typically at age 70, I believe, or 70 and a half. That law or that rule has been relaxed for 2020. You will not have to take a distribution even if it's mandatory starting this year. Individuals with 401ks, typically if you take a withdrawal from a 401k, you would have a 10% penalty, but the IRS is releasing that rule for the year 2020, but the distribution must be made or must be taken in the year 2020. Also, from an unemployment standpoint, all Americans, including self-employed and independent contractors, will be eligible to get unemployment benefits. In addition to the normal state levels of unemployment, each person drawing unemployment will get an additional $600 per week, and will add an additional 13 weeks of benefits. Just want to call out a few of those things related to that act. If you want more detail, you can go to senate.gov, or Senator Bill Cassidy on his website has a very good summary of these rules of the act, and it'll be a good place to go get more detail. Also, if you'd like for me to just send you a summary, you can reach out to me via my phone or email. My email address is ODELL, ODELL .Riley, RILEY @gmail.com. I'll be happy to send you a summary of that bill.